with the news, of course, of the Jujutsu Kaisen sequel, spin-off, sequel, whatever you want to call it, happening, and of course with the first official chapter being out, I would like to discuss one of our favorite characters. One of the characters, the Sukuna Saga, one of our favorite antagonists, may come back. Of course, Sukuna is a controversial person to come back in the series, but if he were to come back in any way, shape, or form, he has one finger. Of course, these aliens waited for like Sukuna, Gojo, Yuta, many of the heavy hitters that most likely could kill them without a second thought when coming to Earth, faded. So they don't have a main, a main objective, or maybe know that Sukuna does have one finger left. So a Sukuna revival is still very much in play, especially in this sequel show. They cannot burn, they cannot destroy Sukuna's finger. That's already been stated, and Gojo even tried in front of Yuji. And the only persons that should know where this, where they put the finger is higher ups at Jujutsu Society, Yuta, who's dead, Maki, who's dead, Nobara, who's unconfirmed. We don't know her whereabouts, we don't know Itadori whereabouts, and we don't know Hikari's, many of the heavy hitters that should still be alive, or at least around, whereabouts. They may be dead, they may be super old, or they just may be retired. So we have no idea. Right? Also, we have to realize Gege really does like Sukuna. I mean, Sukuna had dozens of chapters dedicated to him, basically slashing through most of the top tiers, killing 2-3 of them, of course, even everyone's favorite character in Gojo. So we do know Sukuna is like that, and Sukuna can be redrawn, and we will be shown Sukuna multiple times in flashback, especially since Itadori should make an appearance in the manga in the next couple of chapters. Of course, we'll see. Of course, since Itadori is the only one that can really handle Sukuna, as he's built to be a prison for Sukuna, and if that were to happen, that kind of just shifts focus and the main character energy back to Itadori, even though Itadori did not feel like the main character in the official show, in the original show at least. But yeah, so this is my thing, especially since the older brother of the Okotsu's of Yuta's grandchildren has a heavily restriction. I think, especially if you are going to say Itadori is still alive in this, story, since he's a death painting and cannot age normally like the other, like the other peoples. Anyway, Itadori reveals where Sukuna's last finger is. The aliens become bigger threat than what they thought, or at least what they're running from becomes a bigger threat than what they thought. And the dude eats Sukuna's finger. His heavenly restriction is not complete, or at least according to some translations is not complete. And 2, his sister does have cursed energy. So him absolving Sukuna in some sort of way would make him a much more powerful Toji and Maki, making him surpass him, and having cursed energy on top of that. Now, Sukuna being a threat upon itself would immediately be placed in check, since Sukuna only has one finger strength. All the other fingers and any strength of Sukuna died with him, died originally in the original plot. So Sukuna coming back would only be for cameos and a power-up significantly for one of the MCs, or at least in my knowledge, would be for one of the MCs. Now, of course, Sukuna would pop in and out of the story, of course, probably teaching the young boy, telling him about the stories of Yuta, Gojo, and what he did when he was, of course, around in their era, and say how useless it would be to help them now. So but Sukuna would find the aliens interesting and manipulate in any sort of interaction between the boy and them. But again, the boy does have a heavily restriction, so I would love to see how a Sukuna and the older brother would work itself out. But yeah, we'll most likely see Sukuna again. Sukuna is probably one of Gege's favorite characters to draw, and outside of Toji is probably his favorite character. We won't see Toji again, 100% won't see Toji again, but Sukuna, I think having that one finger, Gege still commemorating and showing that one finger in that final last pages of the manga, I think is subtle and shows he may come back in the future. Hope ally side, since the only people that should know about it are sorcerers, and Yuta maybe talks about Sukuna in a sort of way to his grandchildren. So yeah, we'll see Sukuna back. I don't know how many chapters it'll take, but we'll see him back 100%. Anyway, like, subscribe. I think we'll see Sukuna come back once the older brother ingests him after they meet Itadori. After Itadori and shows off his powers and he gets that little fight in. Once that happens and he shows them where Sukuna's last finger is hidden, the older brother eats Sukuna's last finger. That will set off a change of events, and then that will start a whole different arc, a training arc within Itadori training them. Since Itadori should be an older man, and of course would be able to check Sukuna if he were ever to get out of control. Either way, like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.